Wow. Good day, students. Once again, I welcome you all to this wonderful virtual platform. Good. Now, I can see you are very, very excited. Yes, because the good Lord has done great things in our lives. He has been piloting our steps day in and day out. He has been with us throughout this wonderful lesson. Good. Now, today on the screen, we have a subject in mathematics, and our topic for today is statistics. Our subtopic is interpretation of the chart. Don't forget that we started the chart, that is the pie chart, in our previous lesson, and we came up with the steps that we can use to represent information on the pie chart. How to find the total of the categories that will be given to you, that is the total value of the categories that, or the items, or the frequency that will be given to you. Then at the end of the day, what you have to do is to find the angle of sector of each of the category, and I gave you a formula. I believe and I hope you have been revising your notes day in and day out, and don't forget the evaluation questions too. You need to do them, you submit them for vetting. Good. We also spoke about the importance of the pie chart. Okay, we said it enables individuals to organize data. Good. Now, before we start today's activity, okay, or I take you through today's lesson, I have a quote for you. It says that education is our passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to the people who prepare for it today. I repeat, education is our passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to the people who prepare for it today. What is your preparation today? How prepared are you towards this calendar? How prepared are you? How prepared are you towards this education process? And I want to tell you that everything that you do has a beginning and it has an end. What is your preparation towards this education process? Good. Now, before we continue with today's lesson, let's look at our learning objectives. Good. By the end of the lesson, the students will be able to answer questions using the pie chart of a certain information given. So at the end of today's lesson, what I am expecting from you is to be able to use the pie chart, okay, to answer information that will be made available to you. Good. Wow. Now, that is our first activity. Okay, this is our activity for today. Say the pie chart below shows the monthly expenditure of Mr. Isiedu, whose monthly income is 1,800 Ghana cedis. Use the chart to answer the following questions. I don't want you to panic with this question because I am going to take you through successfully. What I want from you right now is to make sure you are seated very well, okay, attentively with your device. Is that okay? As we go through this wonderful exercise, and I believe at the end of the lesson you should be able to use this information given to you today to answer every question that will be given to you. We believe God for his perfection. Good. Let's move on. Wow. He said, what fraction of Mr. Isiedu's income is spent on food? What fraction of Mr. Isiedu's income is spent on food? How much does Mr. Isiedu spend on rent? How much does Mr. Isiedu spend on rent? What is the value of the angle that represents savings? What is the value of the angle that represents savings? Good. All right, now that is the display diagram for you. Okay, we have the items. Okay, the items, that is the expenditure of Mr. Esiedu, and the monthly income of the guy of Mr. Esiedu is 1,800 Ghana cedis. That was the monthly income given. Correct? Now we have to use the chart, so this one becomes our chart. Correct? We have to use the chart to answer the question that was displayed for you. The first question read, okay, was what fraction of Mr. Esiedu's income is spent on food? What fraction of Mr. Esiedu's income is spent on food? Good. So I want you to take your pen and your book as we solve it together. Good. Good. Now, the first question reads, what fraction of Mr. Esiedu's income is spent on food? What fraction of Mr. Esiedu's income is spent on food? So what you have to do is to find the angle of food. And the angle of food is 120 degrees. Good. Now we also need to come out with the total angle of a circle, because we said that fraction becomes part of a whole. Is that okay? The total angle, okay, of the complete circle is what? 360 degrees. So total angle of a circle is equal to 360 degrees. Is that okay? So fraction on food will give us 120 out of 360. That is part of the total. Is that okay? Part of the total. Now this one is very simple for you to simplify. Correct? Good. Now what you have to do is to cancel out your zeros. Correct? Good. Now after cancelling the zeros, you'll be left with 12 out of 36. Is that okay? 12 out of 36. You'll be left with 12 out of 36. Now this one also becomes very simple for you to simplify. What you have to do is to repeat the step, okay, before you do your cancellation. So you have 12 out of 36. So you see 12 will go into itself 1, it will go into 36 3. Correct? So our fraction will give us 1 out of 3. Good. So this one answers the first question as what fraction of Mr. Esiedu's income is spent on food. So the fraction of Mr. Esiedu's income that was spent on food is what? 1 out of 3. Good. Now let's move on to the second question. Good. Alright, now let's move on to the second question. How much does Mr. Esiedu spend on food? How much? That is B. How much does Mr. Esiedu spend on food? Now what we are going to do is to use equivalent fraction to simplify this. Is that okay? Good. So if the total angle equals to the total category value, is that okay? Then our 90 degrees will give us X. Why are we using X? Because we don't know the value that represents rent, the amount that represents rent. This is algebraic expression. In algebra, we said letters are used to represent numbers. In algebra, letters are used to represent what? Numbers. So because we don't know the value that represents rent and we know its angle, what we have to do is to use a letter to represent that. Okay, so you assign a variable. Now, with this, we can simplify by using cross multiplication. Okay, cross multiplication. So the x will multiply the 360, and then the 90 will multiply the 1,800 Ghana cedis. So this one will give us x times 360 equals to 90 times 1,800. Good. So when you multiply x by 360, we will have 360x equals to 90 times 1,800. Because we are not using calculator, I don't want you to multiply to come out with a huge number. Okay, so we are taking it one after the other. Good. Now what we have to do is to make x the subject of this equation. How do we make x the subject? If 360 multiplying x equals to 90 times 1,800, then we can divide here by 360, here too by 360. Good. So the 360 will cancel the 360. You'll be left with 1. And 1 times 360, 1 times x will give us x. So you'll be left with x. Is that okay? Then 90 will go into itself 1. It will go into 360 4 times. Good. So you'll be left with 1 out of 4 times 1,800. Good. So how do we come out with this answer? How do we come out with this answer? We are saying that 4 will go into itself 1. It will go into 1,800 450 times. Is that okay? Are you following? Good. So you'll be left with 1 times 450. And that will give us 450 Ghana cedis. Good. So the amount that was spent on rent is 450 Ghana cedis. Is that okay? 450 Ghana cedis. Good. Good. Now the last question. That is C. Okay, it reads, what is the value of the angle that represents savings? What is the value of the angle that represents savings? So all that we have to do is to add all the angles. Is that okay? And equate it to what? The total angle of the circle. So the angle for savings was represented with the letter x. So it will be x degrees plus 50 plus 60 plus 120 plus 90. All this should be equal to what? 360. Good. Now when you simplify all this, you get x plus 320 degrees equals to 360 degrees. Now we want to make x the subject. Is that okay? And what you have to note is that when a positive number crosses the equal sign, it becomes negative. And when a negative number crosses the equal sign, it becomes positive. Good. Now what we are going to do is to send the 320 to the right hand side. So the 320 will cross the equal sign. That means we are grouping like terms. Is that okay? So when we do that, we will have x equals to 360 minus 320 degrees. And when you simplify this, you get x equals to 40 degrees. Good. So the angle, okay, the value of the angle that represents savings, the value of the angle that represents savings is 40 degrees. Good. I hope and I believe you have learned something today. Good. Now let's move on to our next slide and see what we have in today's lesson. Okay. Wow. Finally, we have come to the end of today's lesson. But before we go, we have to take our evaluation question. Good. Now it reads, the pie chart below shows the distribution of exercise books to 6 schools, A, B, C, D, E, and F. Good. In a town. School D was given 8,000 exercise books. School D was given 8,000 exercise books. Alright, so that is the chart. Okay, we have school A, school B, school C, D, E, and F with their respective angles. Good. Now, the question reads, how much exercise books were given to each of the rest of the schools? How much exercise books were given to each of the rest of the schools? 2. What is the average number of exercise books given? What is the average number of exercise books given? Then, question 3, which is the final question for today's lesson, reads, what percentage of the books represent school D? What percentage of the books represent school D? Good. Students, listeners, viewers, this is the end of today's lesson. But I just want to tell you that learning is a treasure that will follow its owner everywhere. I repeat, learning is a treasure that will follow its owner everywhere. Wherever you go, it will follow you. If you are academically good, it will follow you. If you are not good, it will follow you. But I know you are not like that. Okay, you are a good student, and I believe you are going to take everything serious and come out with the best that you can. Good. Once again, we thank God for taking us through this wonderful exercise, and I believe He will always guide us and protect us. Until I come your way next time with a different subject and a new topic. God bless you and be with you. Bye-bye.